Hey, what's up guys? Joker here, hope you're all doing well. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the Crysis Trilogy Remastered and the complete shit show that is the review process behind the scenes, and I promise you, you're going to want to stay tuned to this and listen to the entire story, because this is about a whole lot more than just different embargo dates and times for different review outs, which is something that they're doing. Just like I mentioned with the whole Far Cry 6 and Ubisoft giving different outlets different preferential treatment, all that, but it actually goes a lot deeper than this, because they are 100%, Crytek that is, trying to control the narrative of this review, what you can say, what you can't say, and who can post what and when. Some people not even being able to post until a week after the game is actually even out, which is today. So stay tuned, we're going to get fired all into it. But first, today's video is brought to you by Prime Tech Mart, where you can grab software products like Windows 10 Pro licenses for extremely cheap. They've also got Office products and Visio, as well as many more. You can save a lot of money on these keys with something like Windows 10 Pro. You can grab for just $21.43. It's a lifetime activation, so you don't ever need to renew it. You don't need to create an account with them in order to be able to buy it, and you get your key in just a matter of seconds. And if you hit up the links down in the description below and you want to save yourself an additional 20% off of any software over there, just go ahead and use my code JP20 at checkout, apply that, and it'll drop down 20%. So here on Windows 10 Pro for $21, we drop that down to $17, and you're fully activated for life. For more information, check out those links down in the description below along with the coupon code. So first up, when it comes to the review embargo, date and times and everything, as of right now, the game is out, people are able to play it, and the review embargo has lifted for the vast majority of review outlets. But if you maybe were paying attention, Digital Foundry, who are awesome reviewers, they do really great in-depth content, were allowed to post their video earlier than other reviewers, which is pretty shitty. I'll be 100% honest, as a reviewer, this leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and it just kind of sets a bad precedent when they kind of do things like this, because it almost like feels like they're giving preferential treatment to one outlet over another. So that was kind of shady on their part, honestly, but it gets a hell of a lot worse from there. It comes down to things like the reviewer's guide, and also other reviewers who were sampled codes have been instructed to not post content until up to a week after the game comes out, which is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not going to name any names there, but, you know, friends within the industry who've reached out to me have said they've had issues with Crytek as well. Now, I got my code from Crytek directly, and I have never had any business doings with them previously. They completely emailed me cold out of nowhere with a review code and an embargo date. I didn't agree to the embargo. I didn't do anything to interact with them anyway whatsoever until after the fact, but they pretty much just emailed me and was like, here's a review code for the Crysis Remastered Trilogy, and this is the embargo date. Like I said, I didn't agree to it, but of course, I would honor it. That's, you know, expected. Anytime a company wants to give me a code for something early or a piece of hardware early, and they ask me to agree to an embargo, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Even if they sent it to me, you know, cold out of the blind like this without me agreeing to it prior, which is not normal practice by any means whatsoever. Kind of risky on their part, honestly, but I'll agree to the embargo, and the embargo has now lifted. But other outlets have actually gotten, like I said, some people, the Digital Foundry was allowed to post early. You know, that's a whole topic for another day. And then other outlets got the same embargo date and time as me, but now have been instructed to not post their content because of bugs and issues with performance in the game, which is where it really starts to get quite shady. I think most of you would probably agree on that point. And honestly, I should have been tipped off when I got this code earlier in the week by the reviewer's guide, which I'm probably not supposed to share with you, but guess what? I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway, because fuck Crytek. I will never cover this game. I will never cover another game for them ever again if they want to pull this type of shady shit. So, if we shoot over to the reviewer guide, they have something which I have never seen before. Usually a reviewer guide is just talking points, certain features that, you know, are in the game, improvements, enhancements, and then it's kind of up to the reviewer to kind of go from there and cover it in the way that they want, and with all of the knowledge and information available to them. That's really what a reviewer's guide is. It's just information. It's giving someone all of the information that they need to intelligently cover whatever the topic is, whether it be a graphics card, CPU, game release, update, whatever the hell it is. It's really just a guideline to give you all the information so that you can make your own objective analysis and video on whatever the content piece happens to be. With the Crysis Trilogy Remastered, that is not a case. Literally, at the end of the reviewer's guide, we have a do's and don'ts list of things they do not want you to talk about, which is absurd. This is a review. It's meant to be an objective review, but they are literally giving you talking points that you're not allowed to discuss if you agree to the embargo. And you know what, Crytek? We're going to talk about all those right now. Fuck you. The don'ts. Overall, the game on oversell the game on graphics. So they don't want us overselling the game on graphics. I mean, this is a remaster. What else are we talking about? It's a remaster. They're improving the graphics. They're adding in ray tracing and stuff like that. So they don't want us overselling the game on graphics. Probably because it's not that significant of a graphics upgrade. They actually dialed things back since the Crysis 1 remaster because there was so much negative feedback about the performance on that game because they had the whole can it run Crysis mode, which they dialed back and didn't do on Crysis 2 and 3 because it was so brutal to run and offered very little in terms of visual improvements, but it really butchered the frame rate quite significantly. And honestly, Crysis 2 and 3, from what I could see with ray tracing on, as long as you use DLSS on like a performance setting, it runs pretty fine. Definitely runs over 60 frames. I mean, if you max out everything and use DLSS, even on the quality setting, you're going to be sub 60 frames, but this is not really about that. This is more so about the fact that they're telling people what they can and can't talk about in a review, in an objective review. They're telling us what to not talk about. Don't talk about hardware breaking graphics or software. Don't say that ray tracing is available on consoles. Okay, that's fair. It's not in the game. Don't talk about multiplayer because, well, multiplayer wasn't in the remasters, which is, I guess, somewhat understandable, although kind of disappointing. I actually enjoyed the Crysis multiplayer, and I really do wish that they had included it in Crysis 2 and 3, but guess what? Here I am talking about it. What are you going to do, Crytek? What are you going to do? You're going to sue Joker of Joker Productions? Let's see that on the fucking subpoena. Don't mention that Warhead is in the trilogy, even though it isn't. So you're not supposed to mention it, though, but we're mentioning it. Here we are. We're mentioning it right now. Don't mention that it's a remake and it's not a remaster. That's fair. It's not a remake. It is a remaster of the game. Don't mention AI upgrades and don't mention quality of life improvements. So there you have it. They have a whole list of things that we're not allowed to talk about with the Crysis Trilogy Remastered, which is honestly just the shadiest shit that I've ever seen in a reviewer's guide of literally telling people things not to talk about in what is meant to be an objective analysis of a product. They are giving us the product to test, and then they're telling us things that we can and can't talk about. That pretty much removes all objectivity in a review. So, Crytek, if you're listening, this is not okay. I will not be covering these games. I will not be posting a benchmark of these games. And this kind of left a bad taste in my mouth before the whole fact that Digital Foundry was able to post their content early. Again, I will say Digital Foundry does an amazing job. They do in-depth and honest content, and I have nothing against them. And I really have nothing against them for, taking this opportunity to post their content early, because there's also the possibility they didn't even know that they were being allowed to post early. There's a very strong possibility that they just gave them a code and said, this is the embargo date and this is when you're allowed to post. And then other people got different embargo dates. And as I mentioned earlier on, I have a friend also in the tech space who was given a date, and then that date was pushed back because of bugs and performance issues within the game, that person that I will not name. So Crytek, yeah, fuck you. Fuck your do's and don'ts list. Fuck your embargo. Fuck your game. I'm not playing it. I'm not testing it. I've uninstalled it and I won't play it. And I don't recommend it really anyone else either. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Hope you guys all have a fantastic day. And Crytek, I hope you have a great weekend. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, and I'll catch you guys next time. Tara.